Hey, you're back with the Penny Stupid podcast. My name is Steve. That is Damon Day right over there. Damon, I think you're over there, if I got this right.
Right, I'm right now. I'm up
No,
here.
no, no. I think you're there. I
Okay.
swear. Last time we did a podcast, I said to myself, I am going to get this right. So you're there.
I'm over your left shoulder.
Okay. Today we're talking about something that I think is really important to all gig workers and especially rideshare drivers that have noticed a decrease in income. We're talking about tipping. And Damon, actually, I just shot a video all about tipping over on my channel, Old Guy Insights on YouTube. And I,
I should have watched it.
well, it's not published yet.
Oh, it wasn't published yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have no young guy insights for your old guy insights because I haven't seen your opinion yet.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. On my video, I'm going to link to this one when we're done because I know that you're going to have some brilliant feedback. So here's what we're talking about. Tipping. I mean, it just feels like it's out of control. And I did read a very interesting survey on tipping that was on Wallet Hub, and it said that 74% of people who responded uh, say that they experience tip fatigue. You know,
Yeah.
they're just tired of all these terminals spinning around and asking you for more money.
Just gonna be a few questions right here. A few questions.
And
We good?
more people are saying that they're just getting more comfortable with saying, enough is enough. And I think that's what you're experiencing, especially in the rideshare side, that as people get fed up, I mean, it's just easier to say no.
Yeah. And you said we're gonna be talking about tipping. I think we're talking about non-tipping. But I mean, you're right. When I was coming up in my
Yeah.
day, like you go sit down at a restaurant and you tip, and that was kind of like, I don't want to say that was the only thing you tip for, because there was other things, obviously, but that was kind of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was like, you go to a restaurant, you're going to tip the waitress. But, you go to Burger King, you're not leaving a tip. Like, it never crossed anybody's mind that when they're rolling through the drive-through window
Yeah.
or they go in and they order a Whopper, that they're going to be leaving a tip for the person go, do, here you go. Right? And now, I'm a little bit more sensitive to it because of the rideshare gigs I've been doing. But even with that, where, I'm using my personal vehicle to, pick up some lady at a swanky $400 a night hotel and take her 40 miles to the airport, and she's in my car
Hmm.
for an hour, and Lyft only pays me $26 for
Yeah.
that,
No tip.
and I get no tip, and I'm going like, really?
Well, I think here's the thing: is that yes, we are different generations. But when I was growing up, if you went out to a restaurant and you
Oh, she was my generation. She wasn't some,
oh,
like teeny
no,
bopper
no,
or
no.
anything.
But when you went out to a restaurant and you got good service, the tip was a reward for the exceptional service that you got. When
Yeah.
I go to the taco place and the person takes my order on the register and spins it around and asks for a tip, you know what? It feels more today like businesses want me to supplement what they should be paying their employees.
That's exactly what's going
Yeah.
on. Because that's kind of what happens that's what happens with waitresses, right? I mean, they can't really live on what they're getting paid from the restaurant. I mean, I don't know. I've never been a waiter or definitely not, never been a waitress. And I've never been a waiter.
Hmm.
But I've heard that a lot of times they don't even get paid minimum wage. Is that
Right.
correct? Where
Right.
they rely on
I
tips.
think
But
okay. I'm gonna quote a number. It's gonna be off, but it's not gonna be that far off. I believe that the minimum wage for tipped employees is somewhere in the $2 to $4 an hour range.
yeah, I felt like they would get like $2 or $3 an hour. But at the same time, though, you work at a restaurant, it's fair. I think, any waitresses out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, tips are pretty much universal. Sure, there's going to be some people that don't leave a tip at a sit down restaurant, but I think that's more, I don't know what the percentage would be, right? But that's got to be more rare. I mean, of course, I'm sitting here saying this as somebody that's never not tipped a waiter or a
Yeah.
waitress when I go. I've never not tipped somebody when I've sat down in a restaurant. But seeing what's happened just in the last few years when I'm doing like Lyft driving, or Uber rides or something like that, to see, and again, my personality hasn't changed in the last 2 years, right? My car hasn't changed. Nothing has changed other than 2022 versus 2024, where I used to get, when I would do rides, 75, 80% of the people would tip me. Now it's down, 20%
Yeah.
of the rides I
Well, people
give,
are just
I'm getting tips.
getting tired of it. Now,
It's a huge swing. It's a huge swing just in the last 48, 24 months
and
or so.
it's gonna continue to happen. I want to correct myself. I got the number wrong. I looked it up while you were saying something brilliant. In North Carolina, the minimum where I am, the minimum
He's
wage
got jokes.
for tipped employees. I said it was $3 to $4 an hour. It's $2.
I think you said it was You said it was 2 to
Okay,
4.
it's
So you were close.
$2.13 an hour.
Yeah.
Now let me give you.
But I would say, but I'm always like a guy that, especially now that I've been doing this gig work, I'm more sensitive to it. But even myself, I told you this story recently, which is how the topic came up. Whenever somebody spins that damn thing around, I don't know if I feel guilty. They're staring at me. So I still tip them, even if I begrudgingly tip. I'm like, I'm already spending $50 for this two sandwiches or whatever it is, fine 10% or whatever. But the other day, last week, I went, and I'm not going to say the name of the shop. It doesn't matter. I bought two sub sandwiches, one for me, one for my son. And it was $32 damn dollars. And like I had a club sandwich, and he had like an all meat sandwich. No drinks. I was just grabbing it and taking it home, to eat.
Yeah.
$32. Right. And then they spun the thing around, and I was just like, I want to help, but at the same time, I'm like, I just spent $32 on two sandwiches. No,
right.
I don't want this. So I said no. And the whole time I'm going, can he see that I pushed no? Shit.
Well, I've gotten to the point now. And the funny thing is, I'm really try to be the kind-hearted, compassionate guy, do good things. That's me. That's my life. But now
Steve's the compassionate do-gooder.
Yeah. But I just went to Brugger's Bagel Shop, and it was a horrible experience. I mean, they couldn't get anything right. And the person that walked up to the register, that was the first time I'd seen this dude, And he spun the thing around, and I looked him right in the eye, made eye contact, and went, no tip.
You said it?
No, I didn't say it, but I've gotten to the point.
No.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to get, like I said in my video, when you go out and you get just totally shitty service, not bad food, just bad service, why can't I get a tip for having to put up with that?
Yeah. Well, so I don't know if this is a trend now, because I think that was probably the first time I did a no on even like on a fast food place or whatever. I don't know. I just feel compelled to do it. They're asking. I feel bad. Usually they're younger kids. I'm going to help them out. But I think it was 2 days ago. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. I did it again. I felt a little more empowered, Steve.
Good. Thank you. Thank God.
So there's 2 times in the last 2 weeks I've done no. Now, here's what I don't get, though. That's just somebody, boop, 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 here's your sandwich. That's not
right.
That's not really providing a service like a waiter does, right? But how do we get from an Uber driver is not providing a service? They're using their own personal vehicles. They're spending a half an that's where I don't get. Like, it wouldn't even cross my mind if I'm going to take an Uber ride, not to, unless it was, dude, the car was completely dirty. There's shit everywhere. And, the guy can't drive. He blew 3 red lights. Then maybe I would end the ride early and not
All right. Before I answer that, I need to redeem myself for a second before we move on. I went out to lunch last week with my daughter, and we went to a place that you and I have been when you've been here in Raleigh. That where we, I think where I'm talking about. The bill came to $100. We had a nice
for just 2?
For 2. We had a nice leisurely lunch. We were there for a couple of hours. Our server was amazing. She remembered us both from before. She went above and beyond. On that $100 lunch, I tipped her $50.
Woo!
Well, because that was the type of service that we got there.
Yeah, but you spent a couple hours there. She was waiting on you. That's not a here's your Whopper.
No,
It's got some questions right
no,
here.
no, no, no. I stop at the service station, to get a drink or something, and they spin the screen around. No.
Yeah. But I think you nailed it where employers have gotten to the point where I think it's the advent of all these terminals that do that, right? Because before the terminals, it was like they have a little jar there or something.
Yeah.
And most, maybe you're going to put money in it, maybe you're not. But most people don't carry cash.
No.
I'm waiting for the panhandler
I know the QR
to
code.
start having their phone. Yeah, with QR. Because, I think about this more often than I probably should. But when I'm driving and I see people on the corner, I don't carry cash anymore.
Right, me
Really, once
either.
in a while, I might have a 20 in my wallet or something like that. But I don't carry cash. And it's just like, at what point are these guys going to make that switch to where they've got their cardboard sign, like you said, with a QR code? I've never seen that yet. Not one guy walking down the line with a QR
No,
code.
which they should.
Put your phone up.
Yeah, I just looked at my wallet. I have, like, I didn't even know I had a $20 bill in my wallet. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. Well, Steve, remember, where were we at? We weren't in Raleigh. We were in Charlottesville. Charlottesville. Charlottesville didn't sound right. This was like, what, a decade ago
Yeah.
or more? And we got that Uber ride in the white Jag.
Oh,
Remember
we're
that?
in Charlotte. Yeah.
And I'm in the front seat. Steve's in the back. And this was when Uber was just barely kind of coming, out. I mean, it was pretty new, right?
Yeah.
This was like a decade ago.
Yeah.
And this guy is telling us, he's bitching about he's got this really nice Jag.
Yeah.
But it's white, so he's bitching about he can't do the higher tier, remember? Because it's not black and you need a black card, da-da-da-da. And this guy's just lost in his story, not paying any attention whatsoever to the road, just coming out of the parking lot.
Yeah, the gate.
He almost blew through the gate. The gate was down, and he's doing about 30, I think.
I think you and I
I'm in the
both went,
front going,
stop!
yeah, I'm pounding this floorboard with my foot. And I'm just like, I waited till the last possible second where I didn't want to be that guy, right? Yeah. But at the same time, I didn't want this guy to blow his Jag through the guardrail with me in it. So stop. So
yeah.
We're like, ha ha, like, dude, maybe we should get out. And then he blew did he blow the red light? He did blow
the red light. No, we
went
went through it.
And then like a mile later, this was like a 2-mile ride.
Yeah.
A mile later, he blows a red light. So we get out. And this Steve's when I booked this Uber. I didn't even have Uber on my phone back then, right? Yeah. And Steve, I guarantee you, Steve still tipped them. Guaranteed.
I think I'm sure that I probably did back then.
But that was 10 years ago. Yeah. These days, they'd be like, dude, you owe me some money. I
got to tell you, some of the rideshare rides that I've had, especially in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, one of them was a guy who was a really tiny micro car almost. And I'm sitting in the back seat, and the guy says, that back seat's really comfortable, isn't it? And I went, yeah, I mean, it's okay. He goes, because I sleep there. And, you could tell on the floorboards, it was, no tip. I mean, I got out, this was.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But.
Was that the first time you've no tipped an Uber?
Yes. I think it's probably, I think I've only done it twice. I got in the Uber that came to pick me up was a pickup truck. It was all, smoky and everything. not cigarette smoke. It was the guy was smoking weed.
Well, I've told the story before. I mean, I don't drive regular Uber and regular Lyft very often anymore because the pay is just abysmal. So that I make more money when I do go out and drive, part time for the Penny Stupid channel, which this video will be on that channel as well. It's mainly I do food delivery now because the thing about food delivery is they have to pre-tip.
Yeah.
So I don't have to take a ride and then go, hopefully they'll tip me to make up for the abysmal pay that Uber is giving out. It's not worth it. Where with food delivery, like Instacart and Walmart Spark and DoorDash, they have to pre-tip. So before you accept the deal, you already see what the tip is going to be. Now, technically, they can take it away, but it takes a lot more, effort and malice, if you will, to throw out a big tip and know that you're going to take it away when they get there.
Yeah.
But the last time I drove Uber, no, this was Lyft. I did 29 rides over, I think, 2-day period because they had some bonuses. That's the only reason I drove for them. Out of those 29 rides, I only got 4 tips
Yeah.
out of 29 rides.
And you told
And
me that,
that's pretty much how it is these days.
and you've told me that most of the people tipping you come from non-affluent areas.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot when I drive on the black tier, the high tier on Lyft, those guys are already paying 100, 150 bucks for a 40-mile ride
Right.
or whatever it is, or a 30-mile ride. So I think a lot of them are just like, dude, I've already paid you $120. I'm not going to tip you on top of that. Now they don't realize I'm not getting 120,
Right.
but I think it's just gotten to a point on both sides where, if you're feeling like you don't have a lot of extra money and you're feeling like, man, I'm just trying to get a couple of cheeseburgers for my family
Right.
and I'm already spending 50 bucks and this kid flips the thing around and then wants another $10. The ones that really piss me off are the ones that, how they're like, 10%, 15%,
Yeah.
20%. Okay, fine. But then there's some
Yeah.
that are like, it starts at like 25%.
Right.
Like that's the cheapest you can be is 25. And I'm just like, and I'm going to change moving forward. But when that happens, you know what I do? I go, 25%.
No.
Because you don't want to be the guy that goes
No. I do
and
custom
then has
tip.
to put in less.
I do custom tip. Look, I'm never going to see this person again. I don't feel bad about it. Nobody thinks about you as much as you think that they do. The person behind me in line who might judge me, no, I'm not going to get sucked into that. Now, the terminals themselves. So the big players are Square, Clover, and Toast. But these point of service terminal providers are also the payment processors. So
so they get a little more money.
So I got
transaction, the more money they
2
get.
takes on this. Yes, you provide a tip and you're spending more. They make a few extra pennies on that. The average processing fee is 2.9%. They make a few extra pennies, but over millions of transactions, that adds up to being noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say, one argument is that's why they're doing it. The other argument is they're trying to make it more convenient for the customer so they don't have to do like mental math in their head. And if you go with the convenience argument, it's either going to be a greed argument or it's going to be a convenience argument. And if you go with the convenience argument, then I am very comfortable saying, thank you very much for doing that for me. I appreciate the help, but no.
Well, I look at it from when these things first started coming out. I guarantee you this is what happened. I'm looking at it from a salesman standpoint, right? So say I'm a kiosk salesman or whatever. I got to get into these business.
Yeah.
So they go in there and they butter them up like, hey, look what our kiosk is going to do. It's going to ask people for a tip. That's going to increase technically revenue, but it's going to increase payout to your employees.
Right.
So the employees that work there are going to be happier. They're going to be making more money. They're not likely to leave for a competitor because working at you with our super duper special kiosks, they're going to get extra tips because this is prompting people like, would you like fries with that?
Right.
That's that whole kind of concept. If you don't, a closed mouth don't get fed, right? Because how many of these fast food people would you be tipping if it wasn't asking you for it in the kiosk when you're paying? 0, right? So they changed the culture with these effing kiosks.
Yeah.
And I fell for it, damn it.
Well, I absolutely agree with you. That's what the sales pitch was. And it sounded very attractive until everybody started doing it. Now, here's another place that tipping drives me crazy. So, like, we get the dog groomed, and the groomer is the business.
Yeah.
Groomer provides a service. We pay the fee for the service that they set the price on. Why am I tipping on top of that?
Yeah. But now it's different, though, if the person grooming your dog is just an employee
That's different.
at that business, not like what you're talking about is like a one-man show type groomer situation where she's got her own business or he's got his own business. Like for my consulting business, when I help people with, debt issues, not one time in 25 years, I'm trying to think back just to make sure.
I don't think
anybody's ever paid my fee and went, you know what? I'm going to give you a tip. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. I did have one person
I'm pretty sure they've never given me a tip, nor was it ever expected.
Right.
I set the price based on what I think I deserve based on the service I'm providing and the money I'm saving.
Wasn't there one time?
So I'm not going into it thinking no tip. It's different.
Wasn't there one time when you were doing the pay me what you think I was what I gave you?
Oh, like back in the day, yeah, that was an experiment I tried, and it failed because I didn't have a kiosk that I could flip it around. No, I think you're right. I think when I first started to do where I was just doing straight up consult,
Yeah.
and I was kind of having this battle of, well, people are conditioned to get free consultations, so they're, but the problem is a free consultation is just a sales pitch, and what they really need is good advice, but I can't give them good advice without charging them, or otherwise I'm going to go broke because they get all the advice, and then there's nothing for me to. So I toyed with this idea of, well, how do I change the mindset of somebody that when everybody assumes the first consultation should always be free, when that consultation is the service I'm providing, and my consultation is better than a salesperson because I'm actually helping you. So yeah, I did toy with that idea of pay me what you think I'm worth after, but that was I didn't really notice I had more people. I didn't notice an increase in the number of people asking me for consults, if that makes sense. Like we figured out that people either see the value in paid advice or they don't. Right. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a short-lived experiment, and I was like, "This is not going to work."
Yeah,
because people like Steve would be like, "No tip, I'm already broke."
I'm not being an ass about it. But I mean, enough is enough.
Yeah.
You
go
to a self.
But yeah, so those weren't really tips. Those were just like, and then plus, then I felt like, how people are when they get like, well, I don't want to be like, if I leave it up to them, and say they really like me, and they're, oh my gosh, that was really good information. Well, if I give them 50, does that offend them? Is that too low? If I give them 100, is that too much? And then they're sitting there wrestling that demon, like, just tell me how much you think you should get, man. So I think it put people don't like to be in uncomfortable positions.
Yeah.
So it may have even backfired where people didn't schedule the consultation because they didn't want to be put in a position to have to decide how much I was worth.
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of ways to think about it. How did we get to I thought we were talking about tips.
Yeah. So what do you think that the role of a tip should be?
It should be what it's always been in the past, which is, hey, here's a reward for good service. But it's turned into supplement the employer's pay, is what it's turned into. Like employers are now paying so little to a lot of these jobs compared to what everything costs, a sign of the economy, that a lot of these employees need to get these tips in order to have decent income.
Well,
that all these gig workers need tips.
Yeah.
You can't, like I tell people all the time, you don't make any money with Instacart, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, any of these gig apps. If there was no tips involved, the whole ecosystem would collapse. These companies don't pay enough money just by themselves without tips. It's all supplemented by the customers.
Yeah, but on rideshare, people don't understand. I mean, you told me about this one rideshare guy that you saw that has the like Venmo placard on it. He actually asks for it. Yeah, and he gets some, doesn't he?
Yeah, I can't. I'm not doing that. It's just because here's what. I put myself in the mind of the customer. Maybe I've been at the bar or something. I just want to get home, right? I got my life going on. I don't want to get involved in whatever, I'm in the Lyft and this guy's talking about Lyft steals his tips and, you should cancel the ride and pay me cash or, tip me. That's what I was talking about, an uncomfortable situation for most people. They don't want to be involved in your cause. They just want to freaking get home. That's why they're paying for Uber. That's why I'm paying for the service. So I don't think that's a very good experience for the customer to have to sit there and stare at this thing that's like, hey, give me money.
So let me give you the flip side. All right. The flip side is like when I take the airport shuttle, they have the QR code up there for you to tip the driver. Like you said, I don't really carry much cash, and I always use the QR code to tip the driver because it's there and convenient. I don't feel any pressure to, but if the driver has provided great service, he's come out to the car, he's taken our bags onto the shuttle, and everything else, I have no problem doing that.
Well, I get it, and that guy probably gets more tips doing that, but there's also a very convenient way to tip the driver as well. It's in the app that's on your phone that you're staring at the whole time. And when people tip, they tip in the app. They don't give me cash. Sometimes they do. Yeah. And it might be too, most of the time I only drive the highest tier, the luxury tier, the black tier, and I feel like that's tacky. If someone's already paying me $100 to get to the airport, they come in, it's nice black on black Model Y, and now there's this thing hanging there like, hey, give me a tip, bro. I just
I
don't like
got one
that.
thing to say about that. That's on you. That
It is on me.
yeah. So,
It is.
I don't think it would hurt.
I admit it's on me. I think it's tacky.
Oh, well,
Now when I make more money, yeah, but that's not my job.
yeah,
I just do that for the channel.
yeah.
So
But for the
whatever.
channel, would you be willing
You son of a bitch. I know what you're going to ask me.
just for a week, just for a week to try it? I'll make the sign for you. All right.
Well, here's the problem.
What?
The pay on Uber and Lyft sucks so bad, I rarely ever do it anymore. So the problem with doing this experiment is I'd have to take some sucky low-paying rides.
Let's just do 10 rides. Are you not willing to test it? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I'm willing to test
okay,
it.
good. We'll do it, and then we'll do a video on it.
I just hate driving Lyft and Uber because their pay sucks.
Well, hey, whatever you're driving, it doesn't have to be low-paying rides. Just leave it there for a week. You're never going to see any of those people again anyway.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. I'm just thinking in my head. I mean, the last 2 weeks, I think I've done 2 Lyft rides.
All right, well, when you do some rides, try it. Don't give me reasons why not. Give me reasons why.
I will do it for the gram.
Yeah,
I'll do it for the gram, baby.
Hey, we can't test it if you don't try it. Because I'm not doing it.
Maybe we'll get Mr. Who.
I'm not.
In the very beginning, did you try Uber or Lyft? I think you downloaded it.
Oh, I'm all signed up
it,
on all of them.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
So, but you never. So the guy that never did one of them is ragging on me for not wanting to do more.
No.
Hey, how about this?
No, I'm not ragging on you for that.
No. How about this? I will do as many rides as you do. I'll put the sign on the back, and you test what Uber and Lyft pays in North Carolina. No. How about that? Oh, yeah,
you're trying to divert and excuse yourself from this. I'm just saying we're going to do it for the channel. Just test it for 1 week.
No, hey, we're not doing it for the channel.
You're doing it for the channel. I'm making the sign. You're driving the sign around.
Oh, thanks for your contribution. What would I ever do without you making the sign?
Not do it.
That is true. I'll go out and take some $3. I just Lyft Uber drivers. I don't know how you do it anymore. 2 years ago, you used to pay decent money for gig work. I don't know how you guys do it anymore. They've dropped those rates so low. You guys aren't even covering your expenses unless there's bonuses. I mean, get out of it. It's going to just trash your car, and then the car's going to break down, and you'll have no money to fix it. And Lyft and Uber don't care. They're just limping along until they get the automated vehicles. Yeah. You guys got to get into something else. And Lyft and Uber suck.
Yeah. So I think we've covered the whole tipping thing. My final take on this is don't feel guilty. If somebody provided you with great service, pat them on the back, reward them with a nice tip of whatever you think is appropriate. If you didn't get any service or, they didn't provide you with good service or they're just taking your order and spinning it around, don't feel bad about saying no tip.
Yeah. No, I got to get back on because you start adding that up, circling back to the financial part of this, you start adding up. I'd be curious on what the average family spends on tips on things that traditionally wouldn't be tippable. Yeah. I don't know if that's a word, but it is right now, right? On the average family, I would be curious what the average family, I mean, it could literally be $1,000 or $2,000 a year families are spending on the tips because the damn kiosk. I mean, I don't know what that is. Anybody has that figure? I'd love to know, but I know it's more than zero.
All right, Damon, thank you so much for chiming in. This is one that we've been actually both passionate about based on the level of talking over each other that we did. So,
well, Steve did the research, shot a video. I just kind of showed up and was like, oh, we're talking about tips today?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Yeah. So, see ya.
Peace. Okay, I'm out here, I'm doing this, and I'm away from my family for an hour and I made $30 or $35. It puts it into a different perspective when it's like, and where's that the other day? That it was like asking for like a $5 tip at a fast food or whatever. And I was like, dude, that's almost a whole delivery for me. Like, I don't do $5, but once in a while I'll do it. But it's like, dude, I have to do a whole extra delivery for this guy. He can do a fucking delivery himself after he gets off work. Why do I gotta fucking go do a delivery to give this guy $5? I mean, because that's how you start to think about it, and because everybody's different. Everybody, if you're making $1,000 an hour, right? Maybe you don't think of, it's like, it's $5, help the guy out or whatever. But if you have a job and you're making $22 an hour, right, and now you're spending $30 or $40 at a fast food place to take your kids, whatever, and you're going, that's 2 hours of work to get these hamburgers, and now they're asking for another half an hour tip.
No.
It's like, no, I'm not working 2.5 hours, because you start looking at that going, how do normal people do it? How do you make $20 an hour and then still like be able to function with the prices of everything right now? You start putting that into, okay, I take my kids out to McDonald's and I got to work 3 hours to make that up.
No, that's unsustainable.
Yeah. And 3 meals a day, you're just working to feed your kids living on the street.
Is there something that you didn't say during the podcast that you wish you had said?
Is that why you turn the recording back on?
This is the show after the show.
Oh. You trying to, gotcha, bitch. You put the Dave Chappelle bit in there. Gotcha, bitch.
Because we always end up saying the good stuff after we finish the podcast.
No, we pretty much covered tipping, but I really, with Uber and Lyft and stuff, I think that's it. Because the people think, I'm never going to see this Uber driver again. And it's kind of like, here's the funny thing with Starbucks. So we go to Starbucks a lot. Starbucks is not in your face.
Let me clarify that. A lot.
So, I mean, if we stop drinking Starbucks, between my wife and I, mainly my wife, but I do partake in a Venti iced white chocolate mocha with no whip once in a while, right? But if we stop going, like Starbucks would notice in their spreadsheet. They're like, what the hell happened? So we give Starbucks enough money, but the way their app is just like they scan your phone and then you drive away and then a thing will pop up. Would you like to tip your barista? Just hand me no, I've already spent $25 on coffee and some microwave egg sandwich or whatever.
And the funny thing is that I don't have the app. And when I go through drive-through, there's no option for me to tip at all.
Yeah, they have that little cup out there. But again, who carries cash? Right? So Starbucks hasn't quite figured out how to do that in the drive-through with the kiosk. But I don't, I don't really tip at Starbucks. I spend so much money there. If I did, it would just be outrageous. But I tip at these other stupid places just because they have that stupid kiosk. But I'm going to try to make a conscious effort to be more like Steve.
Thank you. Just say no.
And be like, you know what?
It's the Nancy Reagan tipping policy.
What?
It's the Nancy,
Yeah, I bet. Just because as much as we eat out, not at restaurants anymore, because like eating out is like you said, you go buy some sandwiches. That's what you used to spend at a restaurant. But I would bet if I sat down and actually tracked it, I would not be surprised if I spend a couple $100 a month on tips.
Unnecessary tips.
On just tips at like fast food kiosks and stuff like that. Because you start thinking about it, $5 here, $6 there, $3 there. All of a sudden that could easily be a couple $100 a month.
All right, now I'm going to really say goodbye.